If you've been here with me for a while on the Unjaded podcast, then you know that one of my daughters was pregnant with her fourth baby. This fourth baby was 2 weeks late, and I hate that languaging because I believe that babies come when they're meant to be here, and this baby was no exception. So she was 2 weeks past her due date. And of course, the first thing that I do is run the human design chart of the babies when they arrive. It's my favorite thing when I get to see the imprint, the energetic imprint that they have and are here to have. I was honored to get to be in the room with Cooper when she was being born. And it's the most magical thing that I've experienced in my life. And Cooper is a magical human. And she's a really different human for our family, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to chat with you here about her design. Of course, I went into Mama Bear mode. Gate 27 is my unconscious Mars. It is my core wound, my vocation, my calling. It's also, where else is it in my design? I think it's my Mercury. That's weird that I can't remember that, but it's definitely twice in my design. It is a theme in my design. And Gate 27 cares for the young and the old. And the first thing when I saw her design was, oh my gosh, how will she survive us? Because our family is filled with manifesting generators. We have 3 generators, and the rest of us, the other 10 of us, are manifesting generators. Colby was born 2 years ago, a manifester, and he just goes and goes and goes like nobody else until he drops. And now we have Cooper, who is a beautiful projector. And projectors are here as energetic guides. They are the lighthouses. Projectors typically require more rest than other types, and their rest is sacred. Maybe more alone time than other types. And I'm a second line, and if you know me, you know that I need a lot of alone time. She's a 5/1 profile, which also requires some retreat. So I looked at her design and I went into protection mode, like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get this child what she needs? Because you see, I have worked with so many projectors over the last few years who have a really traumatic experience of life up until the time they find human design. They have felt unseen and unheard, invisible in their families. They've been told horrible things, that they're lazy when they can't keep up. They've pushed themselves through into early burnout because they don't have that sacral energy, that sacral life force energy, workforce energy, and they've tried to work. They've tried to keep up. And I see how they have become bitter and resentful and burn out just at the end of themselves. And yes, human design is the ultimate invitation back to themselves. And yes, they are on a different path now. And yes, they're thankful in the end for their lived experience. And yet, this is my grandchild. And I long to protect her from that. I long for her to feel seen and heard and visible and valuable every day of her life. I don't ever want her to feel like she has to push through and keep up. I want her to understand that she's a lighthouse and that all she has to do is shine and the people will come to her. Her people will come to her. Because we always want more for our children and our grandchildren than we had ourselves. We always want a better story for them. And that's what I want for Cooper. And it will mean helping her family understand that she needs some space, that she needs to be able to get away from them sometimes. In her household, she has 3 3420 manifesting generators. If you're unfamiliar with human design, believe me when I say that that is like a manifesting generator on steroids. They're the pure manifesting generators. They are freaking crazy. They exhaust me, and I have a ton of energy in my design. They're full on all the time. And even now, Cooper is, at the time of this recording, 3 days old. And I go over there to their place, and they're on her. The kids are on her and wanting to feel her and touch her and be in her space all the time. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to give her some space. Oh, but human design is the best tool that I have in my toolbox to be able to give this projector a different experience of life than the 40 and 50-year-old projectors that I have the pleasure of working with, who are coming home to themselves now. In the screen recording that'll be on YouTube, you'll see her chart. I will put her chart. Actually, I'm going to make myself a note for that. I will put her chart in the show notes as well. But you can see that she has a lot of openness in her design. And wherever you have openness in your design, so I'm looking at the centers that are not colored in, they are undefined or referred to as openness. I'm going to go through something else here with you as well. But whenever you see openness, you know that that's where you're breathing in from the outside world. And where you see definition or colored in sections in your chart, that's where you're breathing out. You're broadcasting out. So we know when we look at her design that she is breathing in a whole lot more from the energetic field than she is breathing out, than she is broadcasting out. She is someone we already know looking at her design who is hugely energetically sensitive. And I'm not looking at all of the nuances here. I'm not looking at all the layers. I'm only going surface level to understand that she is energetically sensitive. Her spleen center is completely open. What does that mean? When you look at her spleen center, the left-hand triangle on her chart, there are no numbers colored in. There are no gate activations, is how we say it in human design. An open center is a super powerful center in your design. Because in your openness, it's said that that's where you go to school. That's where the wisdom potential is in your design. Those are themes that will play out in relationships because you need another person to turn that energy on. And the spleen center is the fear center. It is in its shadow state, it holds on to things for longer than it should. It's also the intuitive center. It's an awareness center. Beautiful intuitiveness lives in this center, especially when it's open. She is going to be so wise, so wise. There's other things that I could say about the spleen, but I'm just going to keep this at top level here. One of the things that I look at when I'm looking at Cooper's design in the context of her family is that most of her family is a lot more defined than she is. My daughter Emily, who is her mom, is a generator, an emotional generator with just 3 centers defined. She has her root, her sacral, and her emotional solar plexus defined. She has the 952 channel and the 3955 channel. Emily does. When I first came into the human design world, I really thought Em was going to be a projector. But again, it's that whole taking in more from the field than she's emitting. And that 952 channel, as it plays out in her design, it's always going to be a format energy in the design. When there's a channel from the root to the sacral, it's going to be a format energy. It's how you do everything that you do. And 952 is about focus and stillness. And that is M. Like you just could know that channel and know that that's M. So I really felt like she was going to be projector. M is so different than the rest of us in that I find her to be more intentional. Without even maybe trying, she just moves through life that way. She's going to be a beautiful mom for Cooper. Beautiful. Cooper chose well. What I was going to say was in the context of her entire family, that family is extremely emotional. And I mean that in emotionally defined. So when we look at Cooper's emotional solar plexus, we see that she has the 4037 channel, which is tribal energy in her design. This is her only channel. We know that she is going to be committed to her tribe. We know that agreements are going to be very important to her. Even little agreements, fairness is going to be important to her. But we also see a lot of gate activations. So we see that 36 is a theme in her design, and it is her conscious sun. It is also one of her brother's conscious sun. 36 is Evel Knievel energy. 36 is F around and find out. 36 is been there, done that, got the t-shirt. What's next? Next. The adventure. You're in it for the adventure. The shadow of 36 is crisis, but it's really about being adventurous. And it's manifested energy that puts pressure on the throat center. Now, she's not going to have that whole channel because she's a projector, but it is energy that wants to manifest through the throat. So there's going to be a pressure there for her to speak to her experiences, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. When I see this gate in someone's design and I'm working with them in my messaging in content by design, it is such a powerful energy in messaging. So it'll be interesting to see what her experiences are and how she voices them. We see also that she has the energy of gate 6 defined, and gate 6 is a lot about intimacy. It's about experiencing peace through conflict and understanding who's right to bond with and who is not. She has 55, which M also has. 55 is faith and abundance, and just a deep emotionality lives in that 55 energy. And then 41, Sawyer and I both have this. 41 is a theme in her design. I'm not looking at, oh, good Lord, it's her Pluto. Okay. We're just going to stay on the surface level here. So 41 is desire, fantasy. You see everything that could possibly happen in the world. It is starting energy. there's an intensity around this 41, a pressure around this 41. It's a root center gate, so there's a pressure around it. And she's got a lot of pressure in her design as it is. She has an undefined head and an undefined root, so she's got a lot of pressure. Pressure to remove doubt and confusion, pressure to find the answers, pressure to make things make sense, pressure to get things started, pressure to understand what's right to focus on. And it's all okay because these are her life lessons. And I'm going to stay out of savior mode. I'm not going to go into savior mode, but I can be a protector and not a savior. I can absolutely do everything in my power to make sure that this little girl knows how incredibly beautiful her projector energy is. And you can bet that I will. What I was going to say about her emotional solar plexus and the emotionality in her family is that everyone in that family is emotionally defined except for the dad. The dad has an undefined emotional solar plexus. So who do you think feels the emotions bigger than anyone else and needs to get away from it? Of course, it's him. Brooks, her oldest brother, he only has one undefined gate in his emotional solar plexus. He has 3 channels coming off of his emotional solar plexus, so much activation. And the waves that he does not have, his sister and brother and mom define for him. He's a Pisces. He has such deep emotionality. And this has been a gift in human design for us with him, is that historically, traditionally, whatever you want to say in our society, little boys aren't allowed to be emotional. He is literally the most emotional creature I have ever met in my entire life. And human design allows us to allow him his emotions, to let him be in it. And that's sure not something that I was allowed, you were allowed, any of us were allowed probably in our society, or many of us were not allowed. So it's a gift. There are so many gifts just in understanding. I was going to say something as small as, it's big, but something as small as how someone is emotionally defined and what else is going on in the household. Because there's a lot of emotionality in this household. There's a lot of emotionality in Cooper. There's a lot of emotionality in Brooks. Colby is an emotional manifester. I believe he has the 3536 channel. Again, he wants to speak to his experiences. He wants to tell you all about what's going on with him. It's a fiery emotional household. So understanding how everyone in that house deals with these emotions, feels these emotions in their bodies is going to be a really important piece for this family. And it's a really important piece for yours, because I guarantee you that if you are emotionally defined, at least one person in your life is not, and vice versa. Usually you marry each other. That's how it usually works, because it's a 50-50. 50% of the population is emotionally defined, 50-ish, 51%, 49% of the population undefined. So chances are you're dealing with this energy in your house, even if you don't know that you are. And even if there are more than, how am I going to say this properly, grammatically? Even if there's more than one person who's emotionally defined, you can activate other areas of the emotional solar plexus, like what's going to happen with Cooper. When she's with Brooks, she's going to have certain channels defined. When she's with Sawyer, she's going to get that 4130. When she's with M, she's going to get that 3955, which will also define her root center, which is going to make her feel really different. So we get to help Cooper understand what energy is hers and what energy is coming from the field and making her feel like it's hers. Hopefully that is making sense for you. Another thing that I'm just going to touch on really super briefly here, I'm not going to go into the depths in this design, but one of the first things that always jumps out at me is the arrows around the head center, the human design variable. Partly because I'm a quadrite. I'm just always, I see it first, I'm like, whoa, okay. And Cooper will need a lot of structure in her life in order to see what she's here to see. So that's something that is really helpful to know with kids. Now, I know that we typically look at variable when we're older, but I'd rather look at it before it's broken. I know for me as a quadrite and many of the quadrites that I work with, because I believe that energetically we find each other, we have had problems with our eyes. We have had problems with different pieces of learning because we didn't know how to use our rightness in our design. So imagine a mom looking at this design and understanding, okay, well, I think Sawyer has 3 right-facing arrows. Sawyer needs a lot of flow, but Cooper needs a lot of structure. Imagine how much easier that is for M as the mom to give each kid what they need. So it's not like the whole house has to be structured. It's like, here's how we can give Cooper some structure over here, and here's how we can let Sawyer flow over here. It's so beautiful when you can understand the dynamics within your own family. And I'm going to do something that I didn't know that I was going to do here. But I'm going to whip up a relationship reading link for you and get it into the show notes so that if you want to look at the charts of your family, we can come into a reading, a situation together, a one-on-one session together, and we can look at how your family dynamics are playing out when we can look at the charts of your entire family. So I'll do this for up to 5 people in your family who live in the same household because we want to do it who's in aura. And I will put a super great deal on in the show notes for you so that if you want to get in and do this with me over the next month or so, I'll open up some spots and get that there because this is important work. I believe this is the gift of human design, is really being able to understand the other people in your life and give them a pass. Give them compassion. If you're the parent, you get your kids what they need. If you're the grandparent, you support your kids and your grandkids in getting what they need. And everyone gets to work together in a way that works for them and to be who they are in the world so that they don't have to go through. Maybe we're always conditioning each other. Please don't think that I'm thinking this is utopia and she's not going to be conditioned. But maybe she won't have so many layers of deconditioning to do. She won't have 30, 40, 50 years of conditioning of being someone she's not. She'll get to show up full on and fiery as herself with her beautiful defined will center and her gate 21 that longs to be in control and her projectorness that can sometimes boss people around and her 5-1 profile that calls people out on their you know what. Cooper is a beautiful, beautiful projector, and I am very thankful that she chose our family.